Yes, sir. Good evening. Sure, sir. A very good evening to everybody. A hearty welcome to all of you to the Faculty Development Program on Advanced Tool and Technique for Research Methodology. This event is being organized by Research Foundation of India in association with Parul University, Gujarat, sponsored by Shodh Malwa, Eklavya University, JHCRF, ARGA, and Education Academic Inc. Our expert for our today's session is none other than Dr. Deepak Agrawal, sir. Talking about Sir has initiated his illustrious career as a finance manager in the public limited company, serving 7 years in corporate finance before transitioning to academia to share his expertise and shape young mind for over 2.5 decades. A PhD in management holder and Masters in Management and Commerce, Dr. Agrawal has established himself as a leading academician and researcher. He has published 44 research papers, including 4 in International Journal and 25 in Scopus UGC approved journals, and presented 12 papers at national and international conferences. A renowned trainer and mentor, Dr. Agrawal has conducted numerous MDPs, FDPs, workshops, and webinars on finance, research, and project financing. He's a resource person for entrepreneurship development at MSME. For its outstanding contribution, Sir has been recognized by Srimati Sumitra Mahajanji, the former Lok Sabha Speaker. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Dr. Deepak Agrawal, sir, and as he shares his expertise and insight with us today. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Very good evening to all of you.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, very good. Let me share my presentation. So I hope that in the previous sessions, you have gone through the various aspects related to the research. The last part, besides the bibliography or the referencing generation, we need to determine a basic differentiation between writing the summary and the conclusion. More or less, it's quite clear with everyone what exactly it means about. But still, in case if we can have a little bit additional understanding, it will be more helpful while drafting your research paper or even when you are writing your thesis. I hope you can see my slide on your screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you see my second slide?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Sometimes it might happen that you may not going to see my next slide. So you please let me know, remind me, so I can move back and again move away. So this is about the brief session outline, summary, conclusions, comparison. A little brief about citation and referencing. If you need, I can discuss the other. Then that you are having a specific session, so you are going to go with that. And the references, the sources of material which I have collected for this presentation. So the first part, can you see my content? That is what is summary is on your screen once again.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, fine. So when we talk about the summary, it's simply a brief about the work which we have presented in our research work or in a research paper or maybe in the form of a thesis. So more or less, I am focusing more on the research paper. The same thing happens with the thesis or the dissertation or any other type of content that captures the major ideas so that it can highlight the originality of your work and provide a brief information so that it can save the time of the evaluator. This is the basic purpose of drafting the summary. We are quite aware that before submitting or sending the thesis by the university, they always used to send the summary. Once the summary is been approved they may ask for the submission of the thesis. So by default, the summary should be in such a manner that it must contain all the original information related to your work. Besides that, excluding those material which is not involved included in your work. This is the gist of drafting the summary. So when we talk about a summary in research paper, it is an objective overview of the original work, which includes the major points of your work, the methodology you have adopted, what are your key findings, and followed with the conclusions. As per today's session, we are focusing on summary and conclusion, so you can understand that conclusion is the part of the summary and any other related information to be included in the summary. The purpose, once again, gives the reader a quick understanding about the key ideas of your work rather than involving whole of that his time, his or her time, efforts in reading of the whole of the thesis or your research paper. So we can say that summary is somewhat different from the abstract. Abstract is very limited, format is more or less similar. It may be restricted to 300 words. It is again subdivided into 3 elements, that is introduction of the topic, objectives of the topic. You may include 1 or 2 lines related to the literature, may not be, it's okay. Then objectives, find out after all methodology in very short 1 or 2 lines, coming up with the results or outcomes, and you can give the suggestions, otherwise it is not required in the abstract writing. So it is a summary of the paper, very short summary. But when we want to describe a little bit more about your paper, in that case, summary is been fruitful. The question may arises in your mind that what should be the length of the summary, how many pages we must write. As such, it is not restricted to any of the length. We only must remember that it must include all the information, related information of your content in the form of summary. If any important information has been left over in summary, then it may not be worthful. Your work may be considered as wasted. So we need to be very precautious while writing the summary. Here are some of the important features of writing the summary. Concise. So summary should be brief and related to the point I have already discussed. Don't write extensively, don't write too descriptive, don't be too descriptive in your work. Secondly, as a common point, it should be clarity. There must be the use of the language, then grammatical must be free from the grammatical error. There should be in the simple sentences and must be accurately present, maybe in the form of the points or maybe in the form of the paragraphs. So there must be a flow and the flow must be clearly mentioned. How to decide the flow? It can be on the basis of your chapterization or on the basis of your part of your research paper. We always start a research paper with a abstract, then there is an introduction, then few may include the research problems or objectives, or otherwise we have the literature review, then key problems, objectives, methodology, and all these things, following with the finding, discussions, and conclusions. Then summary should be written with an objective. Objective means it must be very definitely and defined to your work what exactly you want to present. So avoid using your personal opinions that may create the biasness in your work. In case if your work denies or your outcomes are not as per your expectations, please mention in that order. Otherwise, it will create an error and your objective may not be fulfilled. Your work may be rejected by the experts. but the evaluator. So the next feature arises that there should be accuracy related to the originality of the work, the tables, graphs, charts, outcomes, and there should be a supporting documentation. That means you should always provide the source of information. Even if it is your own work, we need to mention that table or graph or chart has been created by ourselves. It is our own work. If it has been copied from somewhere else, don't forget to give the credit to the original source and mention the date on which you have accessed that information. So after mentioning the source, we usually use the word retrieved on or accessed on, and whatever your date of accession has been there should be mentioned, because in terms of electronic media, the pages are dynamic. The information may be available today, may be removed later on. So you need to assure that whatever you are presenting in summary must be accurate. And in case if some explanation is being called, then you must have supporting document in your hand to support your work. Continuing with that, when we talk about the accuracy, the relevance comes upon. So again, here we will only include the work which comes from your thesis or from your research paper. Avoid using any additional information which is not part of your work. It may be worthful, but as you might have not included in your work, then we should not include those informations. And once again, I repeat that you need to provide the credit to the source of information you have adopted. And nowadays, it has been adequately taken care by the plagiarism certificate, plagiarism softwares are being run. Even nowadays, the AI certification is also required, that you will need to certify that whatever the content you are presenting in your work is not adopted with the help of the AI. Maybe some acceptance come after few years when all are very acquainted with the AI, due to just like another other plagiarism policy for the digital contents. There will be a specific policy for AI also. Then organization of your work. Just talk that there should be the adequate flow of the work. Don't mismatch. Don't carry over the related information here and there. A proper structure should be there. While writing or drafting the summary, you can always start either with the problem statement, which factor motivates you to do this work. If not so, you can start with the introduction of your topic title or the topic. Then you can proceed with the same thing, that you may have some few referencing or the literature review you have gone, identify the problems. How the problem statements are being presented is again a task, is a technical task. I hope you might have already gone through his workshop, followed by all the remaining steps. And don't hesitate to mention the citations. Now, what is the difference between the citations and referencing? Could anybody would like to share your learnings? You can unmute anyone from you and unmute and please answer. Difference between citation and referencing, please. Be interactive. Anyone? We all are learned, literate people. We all are noble in the noble field. Anyone? Are you there? How many are there? Let me check. 30 means 26, 27 participants are there. No? Would like nobody like to share? Should I continue then? All gone away. Nobody interested. Anyhow. So let me continue. Citation
Yes, sir.
is, would you like to speak or should I continue?
So continue, sir.
So citation is a credential given to the source from where you have taken up that information. Just like you are citing the person from where you have taken the content of his or her research work. So it is known as the insight referencing. Just like if you are writing the literature review, there are various patterns of writing it. This is not my topic for today. So what we mentioned, just for an example, as per Dr. Deepak Agrawal, as per Agrawal, and the year of publication is been in bracket. In case of two referencing, you are in the specific format, three or three more than three. Again, there are specific format. So basically, it is the credential given to the source of information, because whatever the statement you have taken is not your own words. So it is mandatory. And if you are not giving that credit and you have taken that those words, it comes under the category of plagiarism. Secondly, even you have given the credit. For example, that Dr. Deepak Agrawal 2025 states that somebody should be given carry on with the sentence. So you have given the credit to the source as per the system, as per the adaptation of the standard policy. Okay, that is referencing guidelines. But you have 100% copied that work. So it is equally necessary that we need to modify and rewrite those sentences in our own word. So you cannot directly copy this statement which you see on my screen. A summary should give credit to the source of including appropriate citations or references, should not be directly copied. You need to reframe this sentence. For that, a command over the language is required, number one thing. Secondly, if you are unable to do so, there are various paraphrasing sites are available. There are free sites, paid sites, just like Quailboat has been there. Paraphraser.com has been there. You can put those sentences there, and there is a word limitation, normally 150 words or maybe 200, 300 words. It is going to rephrase that sentence so that it looks like it is the original words which has been written by you. So citation means insight sourcing. And when we talk about the referencing, in the last two slides I have included. So referencing is providing more detailed information about the source in terms of citation. So what is the importance of writing the summary? I hope still you are alive and seeing. In this session, you all are alive. I do agree. And please don't misunderstood. So I think you people are listening carefully what I am trying to discuss. So summary having the importance number one, and you can include the same thing in the form of advantages. Writing summary is a time-saving activity so that it contains the quick information, and with that, it even provide the related information to the writer. By reading the summary, the source can try to understand whatever has been written is in the adequate manner or not. And similarly, when the summary is readable by some another person, they can also understand in the easy way. So it must provide a clarity in terms to proceed with the thesis or not. So that you can see that the summary provides a clear and concise overview for your work, making it easier for readers to understand the complex problems. Just like if you read the novel, the initial, after table of content, there may be initial 4 or 5 pages. It provides the complete detail about the storyline, leaves with some concluding remark, because it creates the interest of the reader. In that case, in writing the novel, if they give the conclusion, then the reader may not read that novel. By going through the 3 pages, the person can be in the conclusion that what happened in this story. So clarity should be there, use of language should be clear, and it is helpful and understandable by the reader with the objective to save time. Third point comes with the importance and advantages is the retention of the author. So it provides a base to retain the information of your work by the author, sorry, by the reader, by highlighting the most important points and ideas. So as discussed, that summary provides some key points, key words, key sentences which need to be highlighted and must create the interest of the reader. So avoid writing the dull summary. Continuing with important, accessibility. Your summary should be written in such a manner so it must be adoptable and maybe not adoptable even up to or the acceptable by the wide audience. So your work may be presented amongst the various categories in the society. So use of language clarity is simple. The language is simple. The work should be clear enough, must be understandable by the community. Then summaries can be used to compare the different type of works which helps the reader to identify the similarities and dissimilarities which may be carried or give or provide an idea for the arguments or discussions. So this you can include. While drafting the summary, there can be an opinion related to your work. There may be an opinion which may not be related or not be acceptable by your work, whatever you suggest. Summary also helps in reviewing. Summary can be used to review the piece of content, helping readers to refresh their memory or key points or the ideas. So ultimately, when we talk about the importance and purpose, more or less it remains the same. So as such, no major changes are being identified. So I can leave and move to the next slide. Now, who can use this summary? Quite obvious. We are the academician. So it is very, very helpful for us. You give the whole of your research paper or share the research paper amongst the student and ask them to read whatever you have written. It will create tourism among those students who are not directly linked with your paper. So what we try to do, we try to summarize those things in limited pages, limited paragraphs, so that the complex structure can be simplified. Secondly, the users are in the form of professionals. They are the corporate people. For them, they do not have time to go through with to all of your story. They say simply provide me the summary of one page and we'll understand that whatever you want to get done or you did. This all information is available at a glance. Third is the marketing activities. Well, summaries which includes the still complex information can be identified and drafted into key points, major points. How it supports, you can see that this key points helps in pitching the sales. Major points too must be considered. Secondly, it is helpful in determining the marketing activities which must be catered to improve your sales. I hope you might be very clear with the differentiation between the advertising and marketing. And thirdly, the writing summary can be shared amongst the customers in a brief manner and maybe ask for the review after reading the summary. Next, the users definitely are researchers. More or less, most of us from our academic community are maybe in the process of pursuing PhD. So they are the researchers. The researchers try to summarize and analyze data or studies or experiments or to present findings to peers and colleagues. So for the researchers, it provides the base on which the students can argue to your work, which can be shared amongst others to get the feedback, real feedback from your work. Then summaries are helpful by the media persons, which provides an idea for covering up the new stories and drafting in such a way so that the content must be interesting by the editor for the audience. While reading the newspaper, what we focus upon? We focus upon the headings. If headings are catchy, we may look after the paper, and if it is not catchy, we may leave it out. The same things comes upon when we're talking about the publishing in journals or magazine articles. Next one is the personal. Individuals. They may use summaries to quickly and easily understand the main ideas of the books, article, and other types of content to share this information with friends and family. While reading one particular book, we can say that, okay, if you do not want to read this book, just simply go through the summary. If it creates interest to you, you go in depth, and if not so, it's better to move away simply by reading the summary. So see, the use of language and the content must be very, very tactful. It must be eye-catchy. It must create a zeal amongst the respondents or the users that, okay, let us try to identify that what are the problems involved in it. So even for personal use also, the summaries are required. This is a slide related to advantages, although I have already completed concerning importance. So we can move to the next one. Now, what are the disadvantages? Every statements have few advantages and few disadvantages. Sometimes writing summary in unprofessional manner may not provide the actual information which need to be covered in through your work. So it should be very, very focused upon that related information, how to be written. There can be biasness. Already we have talked that summary should not be biased. Now, in case I am having an inclination to one particular aspect, the summary says, no, your work is not actually what we have been looking for, but as we are biased, we will try to modulate, we will try to modify those contents and present in such a manner so that it will look upon like it is our own content, virtually what we were looking for. Disadvantages is misinterpretation. Once summary, the use of language or content is unclear, whatever has been written may be considered, may be misinterpreted, or maybe or misunderstandable. So misinterpretation is also one of the disadvantage. Incomplete summaries. They does not provide the enough knowledge what exactly we are looking for. So here we are not in the part of Bahubali 1, Bahubali 2, and then Hera Fairy 1, Hera Fairy 2. No, it's not like that. It must create the curiosity amongst the reader, but at the same time, it must include the related information so that it will be very clear by the reader what exactly you have been looking for. I hope you people are getting. In case of any confusion, you may ask right now. Otherwise, we have an open session at the end. Next is disadvantage is copyright infringement. If summary is too similar to the original content, more or less, the software will detect as a copied material. You have a research paper of 15 pages. You have a summary of 10 pages. So more or less, there is no major differentiation exist. So you can have any one of the information, either summary or either the content. These are the few standard steps. You can see the source of information at the bottom of the page. So what has been suggested? You read the passage twice or thrice while drafting the summary. So you should be understandable what exactly you want to disclose in your work. If you are having a problem related to language, you can take the help of your colleagues. Ask him or her to draft the summary for you by providing the certain information which is in your work. So just like what we say and suggest to our students, then while discussing the case study, go through the case 2 times at least. Similarly, once we are with the end of our paper, it should be thoroughly checked. May required, you can go with 2 times evaluation. Then note down the key points. In terms of abstract, we have this key points system. In summary, it has not been defined, but you can note down the important points which will be helpful at the time of the discussion amongst the panel. Third is identify the main divisions. Once you are dividing the work, identify which are the major portion must be discussed earlier on weekend or maybe afterwards. Sum up the points and the parts in your own words. So summing is important. Be objective and don't mix your views. Again, repeated words that please do not give your input in your work. Let it be original. Let the audience, let the participants go through your work. They can better suggest you in case if your work has been copied or some statistical problem has been there, can very well defined and clarified by them. Then continuing with the parts and check in against the original text and read the passage twice or thrice carefully. So it is equally necessary that you should go through the contents 2 times, 3 times, and then send for the approval, because when it is approved, you might not have the opportunity to revise it. Now, what are the components in writing the summary? These are the some standard components. Summary must include introduction, methodology, finding and results, conclusions and implications. What is the introduction? Introduction contains the brief about to your topic, related to your topic, and provides a basic idea what exactly you are going to include or you have included in your work. So introduction, first part. Methodology, I hope everybody is been clear. You must align the methodology of your work with in summary also. Don't modify with your words. Even you can include the outcomes, findings, results in your summary, to be followed by some suggestions, conclusions, and implementation of the work. So these are the key components we must keep in mind while drafting the summary. This is the first part we have covered till now. Moving to the second part, that is the conclusion. How to draft conclusion, what is conclusion, and how to compare with the summary. Till now, any questions related to summary? Participants, please.
No, sir.
Okay. Then let me continue. Just let me put the light on. What is the conclusion? It is the final verdict, final judgment of your work, which has been presented in a para or maybe in few paras, which demonstrates, which condense the information of your work so that it can save the time of the reader. But when we compare with the summary, we can say that summary includes the key points and findings of discussions, arguments, and investigation. But when we talk about the conclusion, it includes the main objective, what exactly the author was looking upon, what were the research questions, how you can summarize this in a small way. Exactly, it is not a summary. Summarizing the whole of the findings in few sentences, and finally making the remark or the recommendations you wish to state. So while discussing, we can say it's very clear that summary or writing the summarization is having a broader view, and writing the conclusion is having the smaller view. So conclusion is an essential part of any communication which provides closure to the work, to the statement, to the discussion, to the debate in the form of a message for communication. A good conclusion should be concise, clear, and logical, and should leave a lasting impression on the audience or the reader. Now, it is always suggestible that once you want to go through the research paper wrote by some another author, you downloaded that paper, and that paper was of 28 pages. How many of you agrees with me that after downloading, as per the availability of time, you will go through all the 28 pages, and then you will decide that this paper is been helpful or suitable to you? Anyone would like to share that? Do you agree with me that we will go through all the 28 pages, and then we will decide that this paper, the content must be included in our work? If anybody, please unmute.
No, sir. No, sir.
No, quite obvious.
Means frankly said to say, no one will look 28 pages.
Nobody will look on 28 pages.
Yeah.
So what basically, sir, we used to do? We used
Generally,
to go with the abstract.
summary mainly, and if the any mechanism part of that research papers.
Quite obvious.
Yeah.
If summary is available, many of the
Sir,
research
generally-
websites. Yeah, please. Would you like to share something? Okay. So if we go through few websites, they provide the summary to that paper. Many of them may not be. But what we initially used to do, we used to go with the abstract. The abstract is written in such a manner so that it will provide the basic information of your paper. If that creates interest of the reader, in the next step, we should not move to the introduction. It's better directly move to the conclusion of that paper. Abstract initially created the interest. You move to the conclusion. You will read the conclusion. Assume that what you see on the screen is the conclusion of the whole of the work. Then you will finally decide by these two parts only that this paper is worthful for you, or you may proceed to something else. So you see, you understand the importance. The conclusion, again, this is a standardized way, pattern. The language should be simple. Avoid using jargons, words. Then should be very clear. Must be concise, means don't write too much. And only whatever the outcomes are coming of your paper must be included in discussion, in conclusions, and in conclusions. So some of the features, conclusion, restate the thesis or the research questions. There may be possibility 2 to 3 times you may move up with your research questions. Because at the time of discussion in the chapter, you need to again correlate what was the research question, what was your objective, and what are your outcomes. Similarly, while writing the conclusion, you can include the research questions. You can be descriptive. I always used to share that one of my scholar who has been awarded PhD So, as per the this initial thoughts, we have defined the conclusions on the basis of objectives. So 5-7 pages we wrote as a part of conclusion. We were having a debate. I said, don't go in such a descriptive manner, avoid it. But the scholar wants that all of these things to be included in a descriptive way. Anyhow, it's okay, we have adopted. And finally, it ended up with the conclusion, which was written in 2 paragraphs. So, no issues. You can draft the conclusions on the basis of objectives, or you can directly have a paragraph. But once we are talking in the form of research paper, you can have a conclusion in few paragraphs. One is suitable, it's been recommended, not more than 2. Summarize the key findings, emphasize the significance of the research. Your work must explain why the research or discussion is important and what implication it is in the for the field, for the society and as a whole. Implication means how your work is been beneficial to the society. So it must include that how your work in last 2 or 3 lines, this must be defined. And along with that, we also need to provide the scope for further research, because you cannot end your work with a full stop. It must ignite the questions amongst the society or the scholars, forthcoming scholars, that okay, we want to work and this is the part topic which has ignite our mind. Let us continue, carry over with that. And if it is unable to do so, the new inventions will never come up in the world. As huge data has been available about the publications, patents. So let me just share in terms of sentences only. That slide I am not having in this particular presentation. More than 3.5 million patents comes from China. We are at number 4 position, after followed by USA, Britain, and 4th position to India. But make a comparison. Even if we have 1.5 million patents from India, how many patents are actually adopted by the industry? Okay. I do not want to divert myself. I just give a question to you. So coming back to the topic, make final remarks or recommendations for your work, just like the scope for further research I've already discussed, and leave a lasting impression. Conclusion must leave the reader with a clear understanding of the message or argument of the paper and sense of its importance. So once again, if you go through the novel, in the initial pages, you will find the summary of the novel. And the last page at the back means last part of the novel gives a conclusion in brief what was been about this small story in 4, 5, 7 lines. And because they want to create the this I should say enthusiasm amongst the reader, so they always end with some questioning interrogative sentence, so that we should go inside and check it upon. So while writing the conclusion, it should be impressive. Some of the importance related to summary and conclusion, that we say that in conclusion, you summarize the main points. Key points must be in a limited words, in a limited sentence can be used. Summarize the key points and findings of the paper. Provide closure. It must be very clearly understandable. Okay, we are closing this work. Don't leave like Bahubali part 1 and part 2, or Stree 1 or Stree 2. And it should be a clear indication. Okay, this is the closer to your work, and you have already mentioned the scope for further research in second last or maybe third last paragraph of the conclusion. Reinforce the main message. What exactly wants to be communicated in your work must come in the form of conclusion. Offers final thoughts or the recommendation of the author. These are the recommendation from the author side, and it can be taken care by the further researchers either to carry over with the same topic, or it can be modified and carry over with the later periods. Same time, it provides the a thought process because it requires the lots of skills, thinking skills. In terms of uses, we are summarizing the key points, providing closures, and reinforcing the main messages. So I've already discussed that summary should be in a position, in a finishing off way, not descriptive. Regarding the recommendations, we have already discussed. Critical thinking skills we have discussed, and structuring of the paper. But the summary, while drafting the conclusions, again rememberize that you must follow the structuring of the paper, starting or commencing with introduction, then maybe literature review, then research questions, objectives, methodology, findings, conclusions, etc., etc. So this can be condensed in 1 or 2 paragraphs. Advantages remain the same. Disadvantages, it can be too formulaic or predictable if not written thoughtfully, leading to the lack of engagement from the reader. In short, if it is not written in the adequate format, it may lose interest of the reader. What I said, we initially go through the abstract of the paper, we directly move to the conclusions, we try to correlate that whatever has been mentioned in the abstract, we assume is in the body part of your paper, and ultimately these are the final outcomes or the findings. Now both things matches with each other, then we decide to go through the in-depth reading. And if not so, we can move to next author's paper. May not be necessary for shorter papers with a more informal structure. So this is that some of the times, although it is not been recommendable, that conclusions are not been mentioned, but it should never be like that. There should be 2 line, 3 line, 4 line. Conclusion should always be there. Sometimes it feels the repetitive information. What I said, you talk about the research question. Again, you talk about in research question in methodology. Again, you talk about the research questions and outcomes and outcomes or the discussion chapter. And again, in summary, you are putting those points. Similar with the objectives. So there may be the repetitive of those sentences. So it sometimes does not create a good impression to the reader. So it all depends upon the author's choice that they should be included or may not be. Then because it requires lots of expertness, command over language, grammatical error should not be there. Although the softwares are available, by inserting and typing through the various softwares, you can overcome with the grammatical errors. These are some of the limitations. So how to write the conclusion? This is the standardized format adopted by the source. You can see at the end of the this PPT slide. Present the final words and arguments, synthesizing the key points, communicating the implementation, demonstrating the importance, purpose of action, develop a sense of closure of topic. So these are all the standardized way how to mention or write the summary. So let us move to the next one and try to understand in a better manner. First step, restate the problem. What actually the problem was in your case, in your thesis, in your research paper should be clearly defined. In step 2, summarize the paper. Go through your paper. In the initial stage, you summarize. It may be of 2 pages, maybe of 2.5 pages. Don't worry about it. Summarize it. Then you can discuss the implications. how your work is going to be beneficial to the society and how this work can be implemented. I have drafted a very good theory, very good concept, but it is rather very difficult to be implemented to the society. Then there is a no use of such outcomes. Then also include the limitations of the study in summary, in conclusions. Summary can be also there, but in conclusions also it should be there. And as discussed, your conclusions must be connected with the abstract and after that with the introduction. So don't forget that you started something with A from introduction, you are ending somewhere at Z in conclusions. There should be a connectivity. If in abstract or introduction you have A and conclusion with related information of A. Now, conclusion structure is very simply defined into three broad categories. You can take the screenshot or even in the next slide you can have it. So what are the elements must be included in writing the conclusion? Number one, information related to thesis. Secondly, the summary of the major ideas. And third one is the recommendations, predictions, or problem solutions must be there. These are the three elements must be included in writing the conclusion. Thesis, related the thesis using synonyms and remind the reader of your opinion. So what does thesis exactly means? What exactly you have been looking for in your work? Summarization of the main ideas means key points which have been discussed in your work should comes over there. And in case if any suggestions, recommendations, everything can be included in it. So this is the one of the example. You can identify, you can note down the source academics.englishuk.com. I just said you, there are three basic elements. One is the thesis, summary, and recommendation. So see how this conclusion has been classified into these three statements. This is one of the element which has been taken up from my paper. CSR is an important consideration for the business. Do you agree? We have the whole complete paper. The conclusion is written in three parts. In conclusion, this essay has discussed three key areas of CSR. So what they are talking upon, in the first sentence, they discuss that there are the three elements of CSR to be included. Okay, so this gives an idea. This paper is related somewhat with the CSR. And in the second part, has argued that it is an important consideration for larger companies. So what in blue statement says, remind the reader what your stance is. What we are saying, that the author argued that it is an important consideration for largest company. So you know it that CSR is the mandatory by larger companies. They need to spend a certain proportion of their profit amongst the development of the society. So this put a click to our mind. It hammers to our mind to go through it. Second part is, for paragraph it is a third part, but classification is second part. When businesses are environmental friendly, support local companies, and provide positive working conditions, then evidences suggest that this improves profitability and encourage outside investments. So what they are recommending, their outcomes of their studies coming over here. See in green. Summarize the key points made in the main body paragraphs. How many sentences or words we are using in this? I think it is not more than 250 words. Second part. The third part is the future focus. So it recommends that all SMEs, small medium enterprises, and larger companies invest into CSR to remain competitive and focus on the sustainability. I hope it is clear that writing the summary followed by the conclusion, there are two distinct phases. Conclusion is a small, short, usually in one paragraph. You may extend to 2 or 3 paragraphs, but usually it is of one. This is how you need to classify your conclusion. Now, again, even then, the conclusions we are confused that how to write. We have written, but we are not getting the exact words what exactly we want to be. These are the few recommendations. Restate the problem statement. Restate the problem statement addressed in the paper. Summarize your overall arguments and findings and suggest the key takeaways from your key paper. So what we can do while drafting the conclusion, we must state the problem point followed by the objectives and final outcome of your work. So first one, restate the problem statement. Begin by describing the issues or conditions your paper aims to address. So there is a problem statement. We are reframing as per a requirement. Explain the consciousness of not solving the problem. Why your problem is not been resolved till now. Describe the existing knowledge gap that your research fills. So we do understand the point number 3, that research gap is always mentioned, and that gap may provide you the approval in your RDC. So this is step 1, restating the problem statement. What is the problem of your case? Summarize your arguments and findings. So rewrite all the new way to remind the reader of your main points. Summarize the key arguments and findings and show how your points, evidence, and examples connect to support your thesis and solve the problem. So ultimately, we need to focus that whatever is been written in the thesis must be summarized in the standardized size. There may be 1000 words, it may be 1500 words. Conclusions, 150 words to 300 words is considered sufficient. Step 3, that is suggest the takeaways. What exactly you want to learn by doing or completing this work. So go through the questions which must come to your mind. Try to identify the answer of the question, like so what, and what we can do. What is the significance of your findings? Must be mentioned. Discuss the broader implementation of your research. Broader view. Don't condense, although research must be condensed, but give lot many thoughts to the future readers. Suggest directions for future research or potential improvements. Avoid introducing the new information. Instead, provide the sense of closure and new perspective to the public topic. So, as this to the conclusion says that you should not insert something new in conclusion. It is not acceptable. It is historic by nature. Instead, provide the sense of closure. The conclusion must be written in such a manner that it provides, okay, now we are finishing off with this work. The paper comes to an end, or thesis comes to an end. So it is the key ways to be followed upon. What are the key paragraphs you must consider while drafting the conclusions? So you can have use of these words as a prefix in the beginning of the conclusion, or even maybe at the end on the conclusions. By using the words like in conclusions, to conclude, to sum up, this indicates, okay, now the author is finishing off with his work or her work. Recommendations and suggestions can be presented in the format as the evidence suggested that. If you are in the legal manner, legal report, this can be used, the evidence suggested that. Or, therefore, it is recommended that, okay, you can give a recommendation in conclusion. Or what the government or the parliament or any other departments, government departments must be going to write. So government should, recommendations comes in that format. They should this thing, they should that thing, etc. etc. The findings of the study suggested that. This is a very common statement we always use while drafting the conclusions. The finding of the study states that or suggests that, and then it will be carried over. Third part is the predictions. Predictions means we are expecting something in the near future. We are suggesting, okay, this can be there. So one prediction is that this can be there if it is required. If this continues, it should lead to dot dot dot. An application of this is the possibility that dot dot dot. So you can include prediction in your work. If possible, give the solution to your work. Then is therefore a definite need for a, you can carry over with the sentence. The number of important changes need to be made and these other kinds of things. So these are the certain phrases can be used while drafting the conclusions. I think it is clear to all of you. Particularly this slide, if you have any confusion, you please ask to me. This particular slide. Should I move to the next one then? Now, moving to the next. Don't worry, still we have the discussion part. So at that time you can raise your queries. There are some points you should do and some of the points you should not do. The first sentence says, in conclusion, don't keep it short and sweet. Must be little bit elaborative. Again, there is no hard and fast rule on length, but typically it is of one paragraph. I've already discussed. However, in some cases you may find 2 or 3 paragraphs, but don't state the obvious by writing in conclusion or in summary. So avoid using such type of words in conclusion, in summary, in your thesis work. While these phrases are helpful during the oral presentation, context clues should indicate our reader that they are reading the conclusion of your paper. So it has been stated that using of the word in conclusion, in summary, I would like to state that they are good enough while you are giving your oral presentation or asking the students to give their presentations. Do provide a brief overview of your paper and address whether or not it is answer to your research question. Now, this is also the good point that your conclusion must provide an evidence to the solution of your research question. A statement indicating that you are satisfied with the outcomes, or if you are not satisfied, then why the main points are not been included, or what we should try to do in the further research, that can be explained. For an example, you've been asked to draft a report, project report. The timeline is of 3 months. Still your work is not completed. So what to do? We need to submit the report. In that case, we can use any of the work like that. Okay, these are the facts and figures which are being included, and still these are the points to be covered up. Do mention the limitation of a study and their implication if not already addressed in the discussion section of the chapter paper. So usually we cover up these limitations before conclusions. Limitations, then scope of further research, and then followed by the conclusions. So this can be included. This is the comparative statement or comparison between the summary and conclusion. You can again take the screenshot if required. Summary refers to the concise statement or account of the key points of the text, research, or an essay. So what is summary? It includes the key point of all of the work you have completed and taken in your work. But conclusion is the next section of text which serve as the final answer to the research question. While reading the paper, I want to need to identify the answer of a particular statement. The conclusion must include that answer. I do not have sufficient time to go through the reading the summary. If the conclusion is found suitable, then the author may shift to the summary for more detailed information. Purpose of summary is to outline the vital points. Main points must be described. Where in conclusions you arrive to a decision or judgment by the giving a reason. So whatever your findings have been there that are reflected in conclusions, it is there to decide to give the judgment. Whereas in terms of summary, it is not. What does it do? It restates the main elements of all attributes, which has been discussed already. So what does it include? It includes all of the elements which has been related to the topic, Miss work. And it synthesizes and wraps up the topic. So already discussed in first line that conclusion indicates the closing of the work. Length 5 to 15% of the original content. Conclusion original only 10% of the original content. But I recommend to reduce further if possible. While drafting, the conclusion can be condensed, but when you are drafting the summary, at least 10-15% content must be there. Presents central idea clearly and briefly, where its apparent conclusion presents the implication, recommendations, findings, and next steps and lessons. So these are the sum of the differentiation. This is from the another source. In brief, I was talking about the citation referencing. I hope you have gone through it. If not, so you will have a separate session by some of the faculty. So citations are the name of the authors which has been included in the body of the work. But the name of the author is to be written in the standardized format. So we are not there, we are not. Don't want to get diverted. That's why I'm simply focusing that the difference between the citation and referencing. Where referencing is the list of source mentioned in the work, include the detailed information about it. What I said, like here in citation, I'm mentioning the content. Just give me an example. I may start with a sentence. See, it will be in the running form. So what is citation? According to Agrawal, surname 2025 is the year of publication, states, and you will carry over with the sentence. But from where this information has been gathered, what was the source of publication, comes in the form of referencing. The question must come to your mind that once we have referencing, then why we are using citation or vice versa. When the name of the author is already mentioned, then why we are providing more detail in terms of referencing. It is necessary to provide the original source so that number one, it gives credit to the source, the person will feel happy. Second side, this indicates it is source helpful to carry the content of that work in your writing, thesis writing. So referencing is nothing, it is more elaborative. Is it clear? These are the some of the sources of referencing. I am not discussing it. APA most commonly used in psychology, education, management courses, social science, etc. Chicago is been implemented by the Chicago board, and they are implemented for all formal subject books, newspapers, new scholarly publications, and materials even may not be intended for publication. Third is Harvard referencing style. So it is used particularly in management area mostly. MLA is very popular style which has been used in linguistics, even in terms of arts and humanities. Then Vancouver system is suitable for the medical papers. So this is all from my side. These are the some of the sources from where I've taken up the information. So you see more information detail is available in terms of resource. Even in presentation, sometimes I've mentioned the direct source, but it must be indicated here also. So this is all from my side. You can see the disclaimer that all original contents and images are copyrighted to their original author. In case if you want to carry, we want to get it published, take the due permission for getting it done. But for academic purpose, you are free to adopt those things. So this is all from my side. I hope it is clear and understandable by all of you. At least I should say that summary contains a little bit additional information of your work, includes which every part of or every chapter of your work, but conclusion is a condensed format of some summarization, which only provides the key points what exactly has been included in your work. So thank you so much for patiently listening. The session is open. You can come up with your queries in case if you haven't put it on. You can unmute yourself. Yes, please. Anyone? No questions? Hopefully it is understandable by everyone. What I conclude. So how many of you have written summary? How many doctors are there in this session? Please share your thoughts and views. I can see Dr. Monica Chaudhary, Dr. Mrs. Shweta. Please unmute and share your thoughts.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, very
Sir,
good evening.
thank you so much, sir, for this enlightening session. And as you told, sir, that there is a different steps writing findings in summary as well. So in my thesis also, I write what you have told. Just first of all, I wrote the findings, and after that, I conclude. What exactly you discussed, sir. So, sir, apart from this, sir, I have one query also, sir. In some of the research papers these days, some people in the conclusion also they write, sir, some references also, sir. Sir, uh,
It is
I just want.
acceptable, man.
Okay.
Normally, it has been avoided, but in case if it is necessary to provide, then you can use. Only particularly even in abstract writing, it is
Okay.
suggestible that avoid referencing the citation, but if it is very, very important, then you should include it. So there is no problem. There is no harm. It is acceptable.
And sir, second is that in the conclusion session part, can we start with some findings, sir, in the beginning, sir? For example, sir.
Findings? No.
No,
It's
no, sir.
better
Okay.
to always start with the research question. Na? It must
Okay.
ignite the thrust of the reader. So what exactly you have been looking, it comes in the form of research question. Now, how you proceeded? So what were your objectives behind this research question? How you proceeded? What methodology you have adopted? It may be little bit descriptive or simple model must be there. Your model must follow with the results. This is the final outcome of the study we did. And there you can include some of the argumental statements which are been prescribed by some another authors. That means this portion has been already covered in discussion. Two or
Okay.
three arguments must be here, followed by what are the implications and scope of further research.
And sir, last question, sir. Sir, is it necessary to give citation or reference in the, sir? Is it necessary to compare our study or our findings, or our, somewhere I have seen that people are writing, some other studies also. They are, adding the references that this study has done this. So they are adding that section in their conclusion as well. Sir, is it necessary, sir, to write all these things?
Madam, it's very clear that
Yes.
whenever if you include the work of any other author, number one thing, in that case, citation is mandatory and description is in the form of reference. Whatever the methodology you adopt, APA, Chicago, whatever it may be. Second thing, that once you carry those words, you should not be 100% copied. So you need to reframe. The one of the
Sir,
best way.
no. Sir, I understand that, sir. Not in the reference and the bibliography section. I'm asking that in the conclusion section, some people compare their findings with the others also. For example, I have done research study regarding the climate change awareness in Himachal Pradesh. Suppose, so I'm writing your name also because you have conducted the same study in on the same topic, and what your suggestions are there. I'm writing in the that section also. Sir, is it necessary? No.
If you provide, see, in conclusion, it is not mandatory required.
Yes.
So
Okay,
there
that is
can
what I'm
be,
asking.
but
Okay.
just put the weightage to your work. You can say that this recommendations is been also provided by the XYZ authors, or this
Okay.
may be a difference in opinion. So a statement, a
Okay.
small statement can be there. There is no issues. One question also, I'm just interrupting, ma'am. One question must always come from the audience part or the participants, that is it necessary to have the plagiarism check to the summary which has been prepared? I need answer from your side is better rather than I should give. At least experienced faculties can share their thoughts and views.
Yeah, sir. In case, yes, sir. I understand. Okay. So there is no, sir. It is not necessary to compare, write others' studies in the conclusion section, na, sir. Okay.
That is okay. That is different thing I'm
Okay.
talking. Just like I'm saying that you have prepared the summary and you have submitted to the experts for the further review. So should it be plagiarism free or anything, simply
Yes,
whatever you have
of
written?
course, sir. It should be, yes, sir. It
Yes,
should be
quite
plagiarism
obvious.
free. And if I have taken somebody's ideas, then I have to give the proper reference and
Yes,
citation
quite
as well.
obvious.
Yes, sir.
So even writing the summary, it should be properly cited. Don't avoid it. Nowadays, it's become mandatory. It's a trend. Even for abstract submission, this it is mandatory that it should be free from plagiarism. Means adequate credit must be given by in the form of citation, and there should be no copied material. It should be properly reframed in your own words. This is also an additional thing we must memorize.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to have any query?
Sir, I have one question.
Yes, sir.
I work in a private organization, and the company is related to the agriculture company.
Yes, sir.
And I work in a R&D sections.
Okay.
So my question is little bit different from conclusion and summaries. When we work on any one of the product, and we have to write one of the articles, research articles. So can we mention or can we put the comparatively photo studies like the untreated and treated part? Suppose there is a one of the photographs or comparatively with control and treated. So can we put that type of photos in research articles?
This is very, very clear, sir. It all comes under the Copyright Act. So you need to take the prior permission by your authorities in that through that of that company. If they permit you to carry over those material, those content, definitely you can put in your work. And if they says no, then we cannot copy those contents. So ultimately, it comes under the violation of the Copyright Act, and the legal action may be taken upon. So it's quite better because see, you research something. Now, ultimately, we expect that sometimes this may be in the form of patents. And once your idea, your objective has been leaked, it will be very easily carried over, taken care by any other else. And they may earn.
No, sir. I think no, means it is related to means our company heads or our HOD. They also want to write this type of articles, but and it is behalf of our company,
I
not my
understood.
own. Yeah.
Even then, it's better advisable. You are writing on the behalf of the company. You are giving the credit because you're writing on the behalf of the company. But all this confidential material must be get approved by just like the management. I should say top
Yeah.
management. You take the prior approval, and if they permit, then you can say. See, just like the financial statements.
Yeah, yeah. My question is not that. Our management is also ready for that. But
And no issues.
my question is it applicable to put up such type of photographs in the research body in that articles?
That definitely you can put. There is a freedom in that case. If it is approved, then
Okay.
no issues. You can put
Because
anything of your work.
okay, because I have seen so many research articles. Generally, the comparatively study of means that photographs which are reflecting that controls and treated data. Generally, not means observing in many research papers.
Ultimately, sir, it is the copyright material or the system has been patented. So once
Okay.
you publicize it, it is the violation and the company may in the huge losses. That's why normally company does not permit to those insights to be get published, to be publicized. So
Okay.
ultimately,
Okay.
in such critical matters, you take the prior approval. Even sir, using of the logo is not permissible.
Yes.
Once
Yes. Yeah.
the company said, okay, you can use your logo in your presentation, yes, you can do it. See, you can see my first slide, which is on your screen. Did I use any logo on behind in my name somewhere? No, because I have not taken the permission. I need to take the permission from my institute management that can I use the word logo. But at the second part, you can see the logo and content of Research Foundation of India. So I'm using because they have permitted me, the management of the management have approved me to adopt this logo. Besides that, you can also see a statement has been provided that okay, adopted with the due permission by the RFI.
RFI.
Like
Yeah.
once the chairman may object in the near future, no, you can't use it. I need to remove this content from that part. Similarly, it happens with the same thing. If your management, Miss Top management, does not object, you can use it anywhere. And if they object, then you should not use it.
Okay. Or it
Sometimes it
will be
may come to your job.
or it will be weightable in research articles. Means
Definitely, it will provide more weightage once you get. It provides the authentication to your work, na?
yes, 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 yes.
That is.
Okay, sir. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Anything else, please? Hello. So, can we conclude now? So,
Yes.
thank you. Okay. So, thank you so much for all of you being here. I hope in this workshop, in this, I think 5 to 6 days is already been over, and one more additional session you people are having. So, it but provides the fruitful result, and that results only comes upon when you really develop a research paper following these guidelines. All these materials are available on YouTube with the RFI link is already shared to your groups also. You can access any day, anytime on this YouTube. So you can get the better understanding about to it. Besides that, RFI, we people are always associated. You can put your queries through your group. So we always try to help you out in such cases. So once again, I thanks to all of you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful session. Thanks to all the participants for being so patient